Hey everyone, so today we're going to talk about tool presets and why they still have a place in our Photoshop workflow and how using them can spark joy and productivity in your design workflow. So first off, just a little preface. As you know, with the newest versions of Photoshop, we can save all the information in brushes that we normally could save before only in tool presets, like preloaded with a color, a certain size, etc. So now a lot of times when you try to load a tool preset, Photoshop's going to ask you, hey, do you want to go ahead and convert these to a brush, because you can save all this information as a regular brush now. And that's cool. And most of the time I use brushes for everything, but tool presets still has a place in my workflow. And mainly I use them for project brushes. So I have my main brushes that are loaded and organized into Photoshop, and you can see them here. And I've got and I keep them in folders and they're all organized. This is super important for my workflow. So I use tool presets because when I create a set of brushes that I'm using for a project, I want to refer back to them later. Maybe I need to do fix a design or redo something. I want them handy. So, and why I don't save them as brushes, and I'll show you the reason why. If I go take a brush, say I'll take an impressionist brush. Let's go over here on my left here and go to my pattern stamp tool, which most of you know is how I create my impressionist brushes. So I go to my pattern stamp tool and I'm going to take this impressionist brush 96 and let's load it with one of my Undersea collection recently. And I go like this. Okay, great. Say I want to save this brush because maybe I need to use it later. Well, if I click here on my brush and create a new brush, and I can save all my settings, it's going to save it right under this brush. So that's, for one, it's going to mess up my organized brushes in my official sets, which I want to keep separate from my project sets. So say if I wanted to create a new brush, if I just go like this, it's going to create, and I click OK. Look, it created this new brush right underneath it, and that's not a good part. Like, now my official impressionist brush set is disorganized. There's this random brush in the middle of it, and it's going to be a total mess if I keep doing that. So I'm going to just delete that brush that I created. On the other thing that I could do is, I've got my brush how I want it. I could scroll all the way down to the bottom and click down here on this bottom right area, and then it will save it at the bottom. And then I could also type the tool settings, but that's just disruptive to my workflow. So what I like to do is I save the brushes for a project over in my tool presets, and that way it's separate, it's easy, it's fabulous. And you could say, if you want, you could save this tool presets and then load them into your Photoshop again and load them as brushes, or save it as a brush set. But that way it's just handy and available and separate from my quote official brushes. So I could go over here and click new tool preset and it will save. Normally I take out the pattern stamp tool. You can label it if you want. Usually I kind of take out the pattern stamp tool text or the wet brush text and leave that brush number so I know what brush number it is, and I click OK, and now I know if I'm now I have it handy. So for example, I'm just going to delete that. These, when I was doing my latest color couture collection, which had an undersea theme, I created this background and I used some of these brushes here on the right to create that. And I saved them as a tool preset because say I created this and say I need to do something in this style again. Well, I would have to remember, oh, what brush did I use? Okay, what brush is this? What brush is this? I don't want to be going back and trying to remember what brush it is. So obviously I want to create a little project set of brushes, but also I don't want to mess up my brush setup here. So that's why I use tool presets. So now I have this. These are my project brushes, and they're always easily available. So I use these brushes here on the right to create this design, But just an example would be, say, okay, I want to create like a wedding invitation suite based off of this. Now I'm think that's number one, this is why I create project sets, because I don't want to be looking at brushes again. And the reason why I keep them in the tool presets is that way it's really separate, and it doesn't mess up my brushes, and they're just handy and available. So, and then, you could rename these if you like for, oh, this is my wedding, my underwater wedding set, da da da. I usually leave them the names of the brushes so that way I know, oh, I used Impressionist brush 6. I used Palm Beach Garden Party 31. I use the Impressionist brush 6 on this. All of that. I use the Tool and Lace brush. So, you can do that how you like. And then at the end, say, you have this invitation suite. Well, you can save your tool presets and throw that in your work folder, so that say you ever want to make that something like that again, well, you already have them saved and it's separate from your main brushes. So that is the gist of that. So say these are all the brushes that I used to create this, but this is a good for example. Say this is gonna be the backdrop or whatever, but I want to make a wedding invitation suite that's like based on this kind of look. So I created over here these this little circle frame with my new undersea brushes, using the same color Couture collection, using my solid colors, but I'm like, now say I want this to match this a little bit more, and I go, oh gosh, what brushes did I use? Well, now I have them right here, so now I can just quickly take one of my brushes that I used on this, and I have it handy, and I can just, kind of add some touches and do like this, and then make, have these brushes handy should I ever need to use them again. So I'll just do a couple brush strokes just so you could see. So this was this Palm Beach Garden Party here. I have it saved as my tool preset for the brush set. As you see, I use this on this one. So I could come over here and say, okay, I want this to match. So let's add some of these brush strokes in here. And I'm not going to really worry about it being perfect, but you get the idea. So I'll throw some of those. I want this to match. Okay, I want these brush strokes right here. Okay, I need some of those on my, where was that here? 31? Nope, 6. I need some of those brush strokes. So, like let's grab that over here and put some. So that is the long and short of it, why I use the tool presets to keep my project brush collections organized and separate, and should I ever need to grab them again, they're really handy. So, and it doesn't interfere with my regular brushes. So if you have any questions, just let me know. And then when I'm done, say I'm done designing this invitation suite, I could just go here, save my tool presets, put it in my folder with all my PSDs. So should I ever go need it again, I've got them handy and already saved which brushes I used, and I don't have to hunt up again. So that is how tool presets can be a really valuable part of your workflow still. So that is how I use them, and check out the other videos where I talk about patterns, layer styles, and my regular brushes.